What is going on, everybody, on YouTube? Steve here with Raiken Profit, coming to you guys with another live green room show. And for today's show, we're going to be talking about operating a brick and mortar store, the weigh and pay, and video games with one of our loyal green room members, Q. So I want to thank Q for coming on. Before we get into the introduction and talk a little bit more about what you're going to learn and who Q is and how this show could benefit you, let's start off with the Bonafide Hustler, man. Tell everybody who you are, what you do, and then pass it off to Q.
Okay, what's up, guys? Bonafide Hustler here. I'm one of the admins of the Green Room. I flip stuff I find from garage sales, estate sales, yard sales, flea markets, pawn shops, swap meets, big box stores, and I put it on places like eBay, Craigslist, Amazon, and my antique booth and consignment stores in town. I'll toss it over to our guest, Q from the Green Room. What's up, Q?
What's up, you guys? My name is Q, and I just recently joined the Green Room about a month ago. My sources of revenue is eBay, my brick and mortar booth inside of a flea market, and then a retro convention, and then I also sell on Craigslist and OfferUp. So
Okay, cool. And then part-time or full-time hustler?
I'm a part-time hustler, but it's almost like a full-time gig.
Part-time hustler, full-time money, right?
Yeah. Well, I
Yep.
go to bed around 3 o'clock in the morning every time, so.
So we actually had a chance to meet Q in Austin, Texas for the Green Room event, and he was a great guy, had a lot of awesome knowledge, and you were with is it your fiance or your wife or girlfriend? I'm sorry.
No, my fiance, she's just out of town for the week, so.
Okay, cool, awesome. Yeah, so we met up with you, man, and it was a lot of fun hanging out with you, and you're definitely super knowledgeable. So again, if you guys are just coming onto the show, we're going to be talking about operating a brick and mortar store, weigh and pay, and video games. And also, maybe if we're lucky, we'll get an introduction to your cat who's cleaning up behind you. What's your cat's name?
His name is Happy.
Happy?
Happy.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just got some Subway, man. He just literally spilled my drink, man.
Oh, man, Happy, man. So, yeah, super excited for the show. I'm going to pass it off to Chris. And, Chris, why don't you take it away and let's get into our handy-dandy outline for the show.
Okay, well, before we get to the outline, Mr. Raiken, we're going to have to make sure that we sound good. So guys out in the feed that are watching us right now, if we sound good, let us know down there. We would hate to do a show or go halfway through a show and then realize like the mic's too close to my mouth or Raiken's mouth or Q's computer's all destroyed or whatever. So we want to make sure that everything sounds good. We will get to this outline, which is, it's probably a medium-sized outline, but you know what? I think Q can handle it. I think he can, and there's going to be some really good questions and Q&A portions where we can go into the feed. And that's right, if you're watching this on a Wednesday night, it's likely live, and you can talk to us, and if you have some really good questions. But we're going to go through some really cool stuff. So try to stay on topic, because you're going to see these topics are going to be something that you want to discuss. Guaranteed you're going to have questions. And so we're going to do our best to rapid fire through our outline and have a chance for you guys to interact with Q a little bit. So if you guys are ready, I want you to type in the letter Q in the comments right now. I want to see how many people are going to type this letter in. One letter, Q. I want to see who's even listening.
I'm watching it.
And watching. Let's see. I want to see. People are saying, what's up, Q? Chris S., which is probably Chris Snyder. Thrifty Flipside, what's up, Q? Okay, Sean Brewer said Q.
Holy mackerel.
Oh, my gosh.
That's
Scott
a lot of
McFarlane.
Qs.
Okay, there's like 50 Qs that just went by. Holy moly, dude. Okay, so I'm seeing everyone. I wish I could shout everyone's name out, because this is pretty incredible that there's so many. Okay, I'll name a couple. Matthew Davidson, I see you. Terrence Curry, what is up? Julio, thank you so much. Gina, what's up? Bob Rucker, what is going on? Frank Chapetta. These are all people you don't know, Q, but I'm just like, these people are all putting your like letter up there. So Deidre, Jason, Coach Joe, Tyler Davenport. Okay, so we got a ton of people saying Q. I really appreciate it, guys. And let's get to the show, because I think the show is going to be amazing. All right, Q, where do you reside and what avenues? Where do you reside, first of all? Do you reside in, is this your hometown, or where'd you grow up, and where do you reside now?
Well, I grew up and was raised in Orange, Texas, but every summer since my parents were divorced, I go to Georgetown. So after I graduated from high school, I went to school at Texas A&M. Texas A&M, your rival. And then after that, I decided to move to Austin, Texas, and I reside here now for like 3 years. So.
Okay. So let's talk now about, would you say that you're well versed in brick and mortar, weigh and pay, in video games? If someone was like, are you passionate about these three things? Do you know a whole lot about them? What do you think?
Oh yeah, I'm super passionate about it. So um, they're all different. So, like there's running the brick and mortar where you can actually have like you know physical contact, not in a dirty way, but like talk to customers and so forth. And then
Hmm.
there's a brick and mortar where there's the Goodwill outlet where there's a bunch of other people reselling and so forth. So it's like a small little reseller community over there if you're regular. And then when you just want to just be in the virtual world, you can sell on eBay or Amazon. So
Okay.
I got a question for you, Q. With so much happening because of Amazon, has it affected your brick and mortar sales?
no, people who are like in a brick and mortar, like there's a difference between running an online and a brick and mortar. And in this way, it's because with online, people are looking for deals and so forth like that, and they're pretty smart consumers and so forth, buyers. Whereas the brick and mortar people, they want the item right there. Then they don't want to wait for the item to be shipped off and wait 3 days or something.
Mm.
They're compulsive. They're more of a compulsive buyer, so they'll buy it right then and there for your asking price. So
Okay.
that's the benefit of running a brick and mortar. So.
And you do have an employee since you work full time. Someone else
Mhm.
runs the thing while you're not there.
Yeah, I have a guy that has a very strong knowledge of video games and so forth. He's a good friend that I met actually at a video game store. His name was Angel, or is Angel. And then, yeah, he has a really good customer service. He's one of my good friends, and he has a really strong product knowledge and knowledge about the video game world. So he was a right fit, and he's very trustworthy. So I got lucky with that, really, really lucky. So our sales are really good because he's there. So, but I
Okay.
check up. But as any owner, you got to check up on your employees, make sure that they're doing their job and so forth. So I check him on him. I check him on him like every once in a while. So
Hmm.
Sounds like you guys are really good friends, though, right?
yeah, we're really good friends. He's got to be one of my groomsmen at my wedding. So we're good.
Nice.
He's like checking behind them. He's checking his groomsman, just making sure he's doing his job. This guy.
It don't matter. He messes up plenty of time, man.
That's funny.
Yeah. So.
Um, so why does video game brick and mortar work here in Austin as opposed to other towns? Do you think Austin people are more educated on video games in general? Are they more nostalgic, or are there just more gamers in this town altogether than any other town? Really, like what is it about Austin, and why does it work here?
Well, there's when you're competing, you gotta look at the location, but there's like other people who are selling video games. So what I do when I decide to do the brick and mortar is sometimes it's good to have competition, because you see like how their business model is, how their structure is, and so forth like that. So I look at who were the successful platforms and so forth, and so I use their model and tweak it up and so forth, and then apply it to mine. And so when you see like a growing demand like that, then you know that it's a good fit to sell in Austin. But overall, I mean, the video game market is really huge online or in the physical world. And the reason why is such a huge demand is um, there's two type of gamers. I would say there's the old generation, the retro generation, and there's the new gens. So that's what made my booth so successful is that I just don't sell retro games. I sell like the new gens, such as Xbox and PlayStation and the Wii's and so forth. So it's a blended market. So you're not just focusing on one area of the retro. You're focusing on new. So it's an expand knowledge of just old and new people, new gen people buying video games. So that's the reason why a video game business is,
Hmm.
is a really good market to go into. So.
Okay.
Awesome. Hey, do you mind talking a little bit about your actual physical store, maybe the size? Um, I know you talked about it's obviously video games, but maybe touch a little more on like kind of the layout of the store and everything like that.
So the layout of the store is, I forgot how big it is. It's about 12 by 12 or maybe 14 by 14. So I'm inside an indoor flea market, right? So how I calculated was I looked at the traffic, how much revenue I come in every 3 days or 2 days based on when I open, and then when you factor those in, then you figure out whether or not if you want to expand your booth or just keep it at that size. So that size was the magic number for me, where I get in a good enough revenue, but also enough to pay off all my expenses and so forth. And so how I lay it out is that usually in the collectible games, the cart games and so forth is usually in a glass display case, and then all the disc games are on the side The Xbox, the PlayStations, and the GameCubes are on the side. And then besides video games, I sell like Pokemon cards and Legos and puzzles and trading cards and so forth. So that's my layout. So.
Ooh. What products, if you had to look at like your highest ROI stuff, what comes to mind immediately? Where I would say, what's your highest ROI genre of what is it? Is it like, oh, Mario, GameCube things? Like, what's your highest ROI? You're like, this thing always brings in good money. What is it?
The one that I always target most is like the Super Nintendos. I look at the supply and demand. Usually with the Super Nintendo, it just fly off the shelf. I don't know why. It's just that's the highest ROI. But then that's for the retro people. And then once you sell the system, then you can sell the game. So when you're running a brick and mortar, you're praying that they'll buy a system from you. And if they do buy a system from you, then they'll buy card games from you, and then they'll come back to you again. But then there's also the new gen games, and the highest ROI is the Call of Duty games and the GTA games and the PS4s and the Xbox One systems. So
that's really interesting that the SNES was the one that you said was the highest ROI, because I thought surely it's maybe the GameCube, the N64, even the 8-bit just original NES. But you're saying the SNES just there's a huge collectible market for that more than anything else?
Yeah, with the retro business is it's based on the age and the generation. Like I said, I'm in my 30s, so like the NES, that phase happened around when I was around 25 and up, around that, when the NES was really popular. And then the Super Nintendo, the next age came around, and then the next phase would be the N64 system. So it all based on like the timeline. So as of now, like the Super Nintendo and the N64 are like hot selling cakes right now. And then sooner or later, as the generation gets older, then they're gonna probably want to buy the GameCube, and then when a new system comes out, and then the newer gen, like the Xbox or something, goes out of production, then these people are gonna relive their childhood memories and want to relive buying the Xbox games, the PlayStation games, and so forth. So
cool. I mean, I find it interesting, and maybe the people in the crowd can help me out, but I find it interesting that the GameCube games are they're selling for just ridiculous amounts of money. It's almost like if you take a look at like 8-bit Nintendo cartridges, I mean, when's the last time you really see a whole bunch selling for like 70 to 100 bucks? But if you look at GameCube, for example, I mean, there's a ton that get into that range, right? Yeah. And it's not even that old of a system yet. Like you said, like it takes a while for. I can't imagine. What do you think is going to happen when that thing gets really old? I mean, do you really see those games going to like 100, 150 plus? Because they're already at like, there's tons of $50 ones. I mean, you got Super Smash Brothers Melee up there at the 75 range. I mean, these are crazy amounts for games that were just around like not too long ago, right?
Yeah, the reason why the GameCube games are so popular now is that it's not just compatible to the Wii also. It's just that not many production was made because, let's say, like the GameCube, it didn't do so hot because it was competing against the PlayStation 2 system and so forth, and Xbox too. So they had a limited run on that. But the GameCube was known for making really good quality games, so now people are reliving it and going back and buying the GameCube and realizing that it was a really great system. Okay. So the Super Smash was a very popular game. The Zelda series was a popular game, and the Pokemon and other games. So
okay.
Yeah.
Raiken, why don't we rapid fire through the last part of B&M real quick on the outline? Go for that, and I'm going to see if I can get some questions lined up in the feed here for Q as well. But go ahead and let's rapid fire through that last part of B&M. Yeah, go ahead.
Sure. Can you attain eBay or Amazon prices in your store?
Actually, what I do is that once again, it's based on supply and demand. So usually the games that are really hard to move, but they're very popular games, I pretty much leave it at maybe 10% above eBay, Amazon price. And then the very popular games, like the Mario games that sells really fast, I mark it up about 15 to 20% over the retail value because it sells really quick. But it also gives them room to haggle too. So because I want people to come in the shop, since it's a flea market too, that they want to haggle. So when they do haggle, I'll still knock off 5 or 10% off and still get eBay, Amazon.
So you have I was under the impression that you have like your own store. This is actually like a section in a flea market. Could you explain that a little more? Because I'm a little confused in terms of your operation.
So it's inside a flea market, right? But it's open 2 days out of the week because I work at a full-time job. But it acts like a store. It runs like a store too, because
Oh, okay.
so so I take in store credit, I do layaways, and I take in trade-ins, and then price I sell it at retail value. So it does operate a store, and then one day it's gonna become a store one day too.
Do you
But it's
do,
a good starting platform.
do you have to worry about like inspections and all that and making sure it's fire safe and a lot of the things that store owners have to deal with? Are you dealing with all that, or
Yeah,
is
yeah. Like they made me pay for rent. They made me pay for my inventory tax, the property tax, and then they
oh well.
also asked me to provide a state tax ID. So all that stuff, all the legal stuff, is also in place too, like how a store operates. I just got the benefit of getting the rent plus electricity and AC. So
Okay.
So it's like I mean I know it's exactly like having a store, except not the crazy overhead that a store would have.
right.
And you're probably under, if I'm thinking right, you're under much more lenient landlord as opposed to like a true brick and mortar where it's like
Yeah.
you're signing 2-year leases, 3-year leases, almost probably up to 5 years, right, for a business in there, right?
This one I had to do a year lease.
Okay, so
So
that's yeah, this is basically the same thing as a store, except you're just not paying the a completely absurd overhead, I bet. So that's cool. I did want to raffle through the last part of this real quick. So do you ever? So you see your store growing one day? Like there are a couple other retro places in store that I've seen, or in town that I've seen, but I don't know if they're doing so well. And they are, I think, the true brick and mortar, like the corner of a strip center, right? But it doesn't seem like they're doing very well. And you can tell because they're branching into DVDs and all kinds of crazy things that they
Hmm.
shouldn't be branching out into, right? So
mm.
do you really think going to a true brick and mortar, I mean, like a true thing, is going to be the solution in the end, or will you have to expand your operation then to justify, all this extra lease? It looks like, right? That comes with
well,
that.
well, I see that it can run a brick and mortar store successfully. It's just that here in Austin, and not to talk down, but there are some retro game stores that are really great because they got good customer service, and it all comes down to customer service and selection. And there's one video game store here. It's very successful, and they have like 3 locations. But then the other ones only have 1 or 2 stores. I've been to their shop, and they don't really have much selection. But at the same time, they don't they didn't have good customer service either, where they don't greet you and so forth like that. And so that's how I'm getting people from the other competition coming to my little booth on the weekends, and they're happy with my selection and paying the prices and so forth. And so I feel like, because if I would do expand out to a store one day, because I have a strong product knowledge and also getting incoming inventory and stuff like that, I feel like I can actually run a successful brick and mortar store, like a full
Cool.
time brick and mortar store.
Did
So do you think if you do the brick and mortar thing full time, it means like you leave your job and now that's your thing, right?
Yeah, you can't say that. Don't
Okay.
want to
So
get
it's like a
hmm.
fired.
your boss is watching. That would suck.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay. So we're gonna go into the weigh and pay soon in about 5 minutes, okay? But I do want to go into the questions, Rick, and let's look for some good questions here. There was one that says, oh, there's a bunch. There was one from Jennifer Leland. Let me ask this one real quick. It's way up here. What's the best type of setup to have to test your games? Is it these multi-unit ones or a multiplayer type unit? There's so many systems. I think what she's saying is, rather than buy a whole bunch of systems, is a Retron 3 or a Retron 5 or an FC Twin, like how do you get, explain what these things are, first of all, an FC Twin, a Retron 3, a Retron 5, to the people who don't know what that is.
So the Retro and the FC allows you to play 3 parts into one system. So you can actually put the NES, the Super Nintendo, and the N64, or maybe the Sega Genesis, into one system. Me personally, I like the Retron 5s. It's like a black model, and has a very good quality and so forth. It's kind of pricey, but if you want to save yourself time testing out your systems and so forth, then that's a route to take with those 3 systems. Now, as for PlayStation and GameCube games, in Xbox and the PlayStation, you had to test them out individually. Except for the PlayStation 2, you can actually test out the PlayStation 1 and the 2. And then there's the PlayStation 3, where it allows you to play 1, 2, and 3 if you want to the disc games on those.
Okay.
And then,
I thought it was certain PS3s are backwards compatible. Is it all of them or certain ones?
just one. So how you can tell it's backwards compatible is that if it has 4 USB ports. So if it has 4 USB ports, then it's a backwards compatible, allows 1, 2, and 3. And then the Wii system allows you for the GameCube. So if you want to cut down testing out disc game parts, those are the systems that you should look into. So.
I see another question from Tyler Davenport. So I want to say what's up to Tyler. Thanks for watching live. Question is, hey Q, how much do you offer for the video games that you buy from people? Question mark. Do you pay up like 40%, 50%, 60%, 70%, 80% of resale value? What are your if I had a bunch of games, for sale on OfferUp or Craigslist, how are you gonna? Maybe I say just make an offer. How are you gonna make your offer? What's your thought process?
Well, since I marked the game at a higher price than retail value, it gives me the opportunity to buy the games for them for a little bit more. So what I do is I offer a store credit. So because I market a little bit more, then they use the store credit and apply for some of those games. So with that being said, I want the customer to be happy, come back and keep trading in games. So with cash, I usually give, based on the popularity of the games, I can go from 30 to 40% in cash, and then like 50 to 60% in store credit. But because you mark the game a little bit higher than it is, then it allows you to still make that profit. So
60% of, like, say an item was selling for $100, you would offer them, depending on the game, of course, 30, 40 bucks cash or 50 to 60% store credit.
Yes,
50
but
to
because
$60 store credit.
Yeah, around there.
Oh,
And
cool.
sometimes, but majority of the time they take the cash. So sometimes I even go lower than that based on, like I say, the popularity of the game. So if it's a hot selling item, then I got to give them more. But if it's like a sports game, then I got to give them like hardly nothing, pretty much. So
Do you prefer, if I brought in a bunch of games, would you prefer that I took the cash, or would you prefer that I took the credit?
I prefer taking the store credit because when you think about it, when you buy the product from them, you got to think about, well, how long it's going to take me to sell the items. It might take a month. It might take 3 months. So you need to factor in all that stuff once you give them the offer. So, yeah.
Awesome,
Okay.
man.
So there's one last question here from Aaron. Should we be buying and holding GameCube for a later date? And if so, what do you think the price would be at a later date?
Usually right now, to be honest with you, the good time to buy video games is during the summertime because right now everyone's waiting till Q4, till Black Friday. So once a game starts going up in price after Black Friday, you got to see a Mario game, for example, Mario Kart or Super Smash for 40 bucks. You buy it right now, but after Q4, it's got to skyrocket to 60, 70, upwards to 80 bucks for the game, depending on the video game. So as for GameCube, I will wait till Q4, and then that's when I'll start selling them. So if you have it now, you should hold it and just sell in Q4. If you're asking for years, that's very risky. Sometimes it just drops in price. So I'll just sell it now. That's my opinion. Because you're going to come across it again. So you don't want sitting money around. So.
Okay. Cool. Okay, so now we're going to go into the weigh and pay segment, which is going to be really interesting. So the weigh and pay, okay, I'm just going to let Q do this part because it's really hard to kind of describe a weigh and pay to people that might not know what a weigh and pay is. So in your most concise terms, Q, like how would you define a weigh and pay? What is a weigh and pay?
So the way and pay works is as you're checking out, you pay an X amount per pound. So the clothes will weigh this much, but then when you check out electronics or glassware or other electronics, they'll charge you a fixed price, which is not cool. It should be all strictly by weight. So that's how it works. And then how the operation works, you gotta think of it as like Black Friday every day. That's in one phrase how I think of the Goodwill outlet, the weigh and pay. So how it comes out, how the operation. Well, just the root of it, how it happens, is here in Austin, Texas, there's like, I don't know, about 16, 20 Goodwills, right? So all the stuff that doesn't sell at the retail level stores, it's like a product life cycle. Okay, if it doesn't sell at the store, then we have a clearance sale at the Goodwill, and then they send all their scraps to the Goodwill outlet to be the last phase of selling the product, and that's where the thought process of the weigh and pay. You buy it by the weight. So once it comes into the store, they throw it in these huge blue bins, and then wait behind a yellow line, and then it'll be a rental cop or the Goodwill employee there. Just once they do the rolls of the bins, they say go, and then you start racing like a bunch of horses, and then like you just digging through like this, like little monsters, and then trying to find your items.
The first time I went to a weigh and pay, I was frightened out of my mind because it's like a whole nother world. Like I tell you right now, if you want to get to know somebody, bring them to a weigh and pay, and you'll get to see their true colors real quick.
Yeah. I got in some heated arguments over an item, man. So
I got a quick question real quick. Because I've only been to a couple weigh and pays. I have a weigh and pay, but it's about an hour away from me. I've only been there a couple times. The last time I went, it was like jackpot city. I mean, weigh and pay. If anyone out there is listening and you have a weigh and pay, just go. Just go. It's quite the experience. But could you give us, this isn't on our outline, but maybe you can think of something off the top. What are a few maybe rules of etiquette, proper etiquette for being at a weigh and pay? Is there any etiquette? Is there any respect, or is it just, mountain lion versus mountain lion?
The first thing, the first rule is if the basket's against the wall and there's a sheet over it, don't go inside the basket. Okay, number one rule. You gotta think about it. I mean, it happened to me, but you gotta think about it. These outlet people. They've been waiting for 3 or 4 hours, and so they put the baskets on the side of the wall, and that's how they fill it up. And that's like 3 or 4 hours of work of picking. And then some noobs will come in and just take your items, and it happened to me, and so that's the number one rule: do not reach into people's baskets. So.
Wait, that's where I found all the gems last time I went. I couldn't believe
it. Okay, there's a lot of interesting comments here. Q, check this out. So, like, Pittsburgh Mike says, if you're a real man, you don't use gloves. That's pretty funny. Pennsylvania Pixie says, my boyfriend calls it combat shopping. Secondhand Rose, who you went to the outlet with this when you were in town, or she was in town, gloves for sure. Turtle Trader, it's like a roller derby. Krillin876 says, don't cut the line. There's no etiquette, just bring gloves, is Jaime's comment. Crazy, right? You kind of hoard everything and then you sort. But there's a lot of horror. Oh, we're going to get to some really cool horror stories, Paul Hong. Don't worry about that.
Uh-oh.
So do you think most towns that you've been in have weigh and pays, or is it just bigger cities like Austin, Dallas, Houston? Would they all have a weigh and pay, but not Lubbock, Texas, or small town Alabama, right? No,
it has to be a big city that has a bunch of Goodwills. Like I say, it comes from all the retail stores, and that's their last product life cycle. So usually the Seattle area, the Ohio area, I think the Phoenix area, the San Antonio area, the Houston area should have one. So like if it has a bunch of Goodwills around, then you should definitely check out the weigh and pay. So.
What sorts of treasures can you find at a weigh and pay?
Mostly clothes, and then like broken electronics, and then glassware, and occasionally the home run item and so forth. So
the second time you've said glassware. When you say glassware, what do you mean by that?
Glassware, as in like mugs, vintage glass. You'll see that, and then that's what I meant by glassware, and then like pottery and stuff. So.
And those things survive the turmoil?
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, sometimes I saw a Hummel piece before. I saw a Linux piece before, and I was so excited. And then when I reached it, it was broken. So. Yeah.
So have you found video games at a weigh and pay ever?
Yes, I have found video games at the weigh and pay. I landed some big ones, some jackpot ones, and.
All right. So what's a jackpot one? Give us 2 jackpots.
We can't wait. We want to hear it now.
Yeah. What's the 2? Give us 2 jackpots that you found in a weigh and pay, dude.
The two, man. My biggest jackpot was well, I didn't find it, but because I was a regular and I network and there's a reseller community, um, this guy found some N64 games, right? And I saw him grab it, and I'm like, oh, okay. Of course, they gotta know that Mario is a. Oh, okay. He's like, okay, $20 for Mario. I was like, yeah, I don't care about that game. But in his hand, he told me $10 for this one certain game. And look it up, people, if you guys don't believe me. Bomberman Second Attack for the N64.
Hold on, I'm looking this up right now.
Look it up
Come on,
right
don't
now.
tell me. Don't ruin the surprise right now. It's okay. It's
Look it up.
Bomberman what?
Second Attack for the N64. Look it up, people. So
I'm looking it up on Amazon.
yeah, look
I
at
think Bomberman is usually worth good money. I know that much.
Okay, so
Yeah,
I see the merchants are coming in at 130. Holy crap! The first FBA is at 375.
What? Used?
Oh, that's probably in box, but
Okay.
Yeah, that's probably with box, but it looks like it's probably somewhere between 100 to 200 bucks. Is that accurate?
exactly because it was a limited run of that game. So
Interesting.
the guy sold it to me for $10. I'm like, that's
So
fine with me. So
right there at the weigh and pay, like you don't even go to the register, you don't go outside of the store. You just give them $10 in cash and you take it into your cart, right?
yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm not gonna check out. Say, hey, meet me outside. Here's my $10. Boom. So
Dang,
that was
that's crazy.
Wow,
that
that
was
dude messed
crazy.
up.
Yeah, we have some. Yeah, so everyone's saying Bomberman. Yeah, just look up Bomberman. I mean, that's a pretty good. I mean, that's obviously a really, really. They've had how many Bombermans have been released? I mean, I could have sworn Bomberman was N64, but wasn't it before or was it only N64?
It was on the NES. There was
Yeah,
Bomberman.
wasn't it?
Yeah, and then there's Bomberman 2, which is also an expensive game for the NES. So it's like $100 and up game. So
Okay.
I managed to sell that Bomberman Second Attack for $150 at my shop. So
Oh, cool, man.
How long did it take you to get rid of it?
it took me like, I think it probably took me 2 months before it finally got let go. I mean, but that's okay with me. I mean, sometimes you want your asking price and you'll hold it as long as you can. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
just like anything, a lot of those higher end items, depending on the game, of course, or what you're selling, sometimes you just got to wait it out. You've got to find that's. I mean,
yeah,
there's a lot more customers willing to pay $20 for a Mario game versus 150 for,
yeah. So but yeah, but other than that, besides video games, I found a Saunders cervical traction. It's like for your neck therapy. And so I paid $4 for it, but I ended up selling it for $200. And then Jenny found these ugly pair of Italian boots, and we're like, oh, we'll be happy making $40. So we ran it as an auction. It sold for $200. So
What?
yeah, it was some ugly pair of boots, like really ugly. So
Pretty cool.
yeah.
You know what's
So
cool about your weigh and pay stuff is that I know you've shot videos from weigh and pay. You've put it in the green room, which I'm like, holy crap! Like this guy's like really about weigh and pay. And then you show all your finds from weigh and pay, and I'm like, holy crap! This guy's finding a
Yeah.
lot of crazy things at weigh and pays, down to like even vintage socks. Remember that?
yeah,
Like
I
not
ended up
too long
selling
ago.
it. Yeah, I told Rose like, hey, remember these socks? Yeah, I sold it for $40.
How much?
So, $40.
Damn!
So I'll show you the link, man. I sold it for $40. So
Holy moly, dude! That's awesome,
yeah,
man. I remember seeing them like as you put pictures of the stuff that you find at weigh and pays. Not all the time, but sometimes. And I saw the socks. I was like, those are pretty killer socks. And you were like, yeah, man, vintage socks. I'm like, cool. And then they sold for $40. So I am a little surprised. I won't say I'm not surprised. I'm a tiny bit surprised because I mean it's hard to find those. What do they call? I mean, are they above the calf or the calf ones with two little
yeah, they're like
collars?
80 styles. I mean, I think it's just a fad right now because the kids these days they're trying to relive the 80s and the 90s moments. So that's the reason why you see like the high socks and the yellow Sony cassette players and the yellow headphones. They want to look like retro hip hop style. So that's the reason why they're buying it. So
Okay,
I
cool.
learned about the socks from another reseller at the outlet. So I saw his listing. He had like a set of 6, and he sold it for like $300, brand new with tags. I was like, holy crap! So I went on a
Gee.
quest for those 2 socks.
So next question for you, Q. Before I get into it, step back. Like if you go to a traditional Goodwill, Savers, Salvation Army, I think we could all agree that there's a lot of people there who aren't resellers. They're just buying to save a buck or two. When it comes to the Goodwill, the weigh and pays, would you say that it's a fair statement that most of the people there are reselling, or would you say that it's a split, kind of like a traditional thrift store? What are your thoughts on that?
From the comparing it to shopping at a Goodwill, like what are the most of
Yeah, like
the
if you go to a weigh and pay, I guess an easier way to say it is are most of the people there resellers?
I would say a majority of them are resellers, but then those are the regular. Then people come in, they usually get the items like items that people never pick up really, but they use it to. So I know one person that she just goes there and look for school supplies, and then I know some other people they want to efficiently save money for their wedding, so they look for like the glassware and then the yarn and the string. So it's a mix of both. And some people just buy clothes there for upcoming school or just to dress up. So
Do you have any
so
relations with the folks that are there? Because I know there's a lot of people out there who go to these weigh and pays, and
mm,
especially if you ever go to a like a Salvation fill a bag sale with clothes, where you can fill up a whole bag for like $5, where it's literally like 10 cents each. You'll notice there's certain people there that are taking all the clothes, and I've looked crappiest brands.
uh,
What they're
uh,
actually doing is they're selling it overseas, but I never really understood the logistics of how it worked or how they're exporting it. Do you know anything about that and what these people are up to?
yeah, I know what they're doing. So the trick is what they're doing is okay. They're behind the yellow line. They're ready, set, go. So what they do is they they put it. They got some big, broad shoulders. So what they do is they pile up some amount of clothes on there like crazy. And it's like it's amazing how someone like maybe 4'9" how much they can just pile it up to the very top. So the reason why they do that is because they don't have time to research the price. So what they do is just grab as much as they can, and then they sort it out later. Then once after that process, once they sort it out, then they fill it up a basket full. So so there's three ways of how they're selling it. So I'm pretty sure we all witness it too. When we go out to the garage sale and you're like all disappointed seeing clothes for sale and they're selling it for a quarter a dollar, these are people from the outlet actually selling these clothes for really cheap. So that's one source of how they're selling it. The other sources that they're selling it is that here in Texas they go to another country, aka Mexico. So they go to Mexico, they they sell it to a vendor there, selling a bulk price, or they actually drive all the way down to Mexico and they sell it like that too. And then another one is I know a guy that picks up vintage clothing. So
Hmm.
what he does is that he came up with a source, a guy who lives in Japan. So what this guy does is he comes in and he buys a whole pallet full and then sell it at his shop like vintage American style clothes in Japan. So those are that's how they do it. It's just the right connection, the right people. So
Awesome. Thanks, man.
yeah.
Um, I do have a question about like, so you wanted, so now let's say you've intrigued some people to go to a weigh and pay, right? And like they wanted to go check it out, but they want to have a really good experience. So how would you suggest someone get equipped for a day at the weigh and pay? Because when
Good
I go to a
question.
weigh and pay, I'm kind of like Raiken. I'm like, what is going on? Like it sounds like like a Category 5 tornado is like going on, but I
Uh,
mean, literally, like it sounds like a tornado is like erupting like every now and then because of how the process works. But what's something that you have to take with you? I see a lot of people with sleeveless shirts, some guys, right? It seems like freedom of movement, right? I don't know. Um, Gloves, bags, like talk about that.
so how I equip myself is you gotta wear gloves because there's broken glass and so forth or sharp pieces where you get cut. So definitely you gotta wear gloves. The next thing you gotta have is some comfortable clothes like not your dress clothes. Don't bring your dress clothes. Just wear like a regular old school shirt and some shorts and some nice shoes because you gotta be racing and so forth. And then the third thing that you will have to have yeah, people dress in like fancy clothes and it ends up getting ripped and stuff. I saw a person bringing a Louis Vuitton purse in there. Like, what are you doing, man? This is a way to pay. But
You
what else?
literally have to go to the gym. You have to go through the Bonafide Hustler workout plan just to be
Yeah,
able to like survive a day at the weigh and pay.
you get some good cardio, man. You get some really good cardio.
So
What
about so you're saying some good shoes, some comfortable clothes, but not some nice clothes. Gloves because you could get cut. Couldn't you just still get cut through gloves, or are you wearing certain kind of gloves?
I just wear some thick clothes, but you also still got to be careful when you're digging through. And then What I have is a duffel bag. So when I'm running, I can throw it in real quick. Or some people have a big IKEA bag. I don't know if you
Yeah,
ever
I've
seen a
seen
big
those
IKEA
before.
bag. Yeah, those they put around your neck and you can just scoop it in like.
God, this is
I see some
crazy,
guy
man.
he just like that, and those are great. To pick up like small little things.
What
This
about a
is
pit bull? Can you bring a dog or something to intimidate?
nah. I seen a lady that bring a dog inside. That's a good distraction. Say, oh look, dog, and then everyone start petting the dog, and then
Cookies! We got cookies in the corner.
I
So,
mean, yeah. I
what
seen
made you
people.
so good at the weigh and pay? Like, how did you find out about it? And at what
Well,
point did you decide like this needs to be in my regimen because I make money here? Like, how did you figure out? How did you find out about it? And what makes you going back to this thing? Like, I know it's the money, but like, what is it? The thrill? Like, what is it, man?
well, how I knew about the weigh and pay is because I used to work at Goodwill. I used to run and operate the Goodwill e-commerce. I helped started up the eBay account, believe it
Wow.
or not. So the e-commerce store was actually located at the weigh and pay. And back then, they would ask me because I had strong knowledge. They asked me before they put it out in the bins, put it out on the floor. They asked me to go through and dig through the stuff before it goes out on the floor. And then as I was digging through, I realized, oh my gosh, there's so many good items that they throw out on the floor. And so that's when I realized like it's a really good source of revenue and you can get it for cheap. So you just got to be patient with it. So
Hey, real
is it?
quick, how do they price items back there since you work for the Goodwill? Are they looking it up on the sold listings?
Yeah, well, they used to sell a lot on eBay, but since Shop Goodwill is getting very popular now, they just run it as an auction. Their magic number is starting at 9.99, and the reason why they start at 9.99 is because it attracts buyers and create watchers. Um, and it usually goes for higher than asking price because people are bidding, and I guess they're assuming they're giving to a good cause, so go over than retail value. But believe it or not, how they get you also is the shipping price too. So be sure to check the shipping price before you purchase the item on Shopee.
Little sneaky little, you know what? Anyway,
So,
um, well, let's go to this question real quick. Two more questions on the weigh and pay thing. Is the weigh and pay as dirty as everyone says it is?
Hmm.
Q, what do you think?
yeah. I would say it's in that range. I mean, they try to keep it clean, but
It's in that range of dirty.
it's the range of dirty, and I don't understand. Like, it's $1 billion company, and then like, or charity, I would say. I call it a company. But anyway, sometimes the AC goes out. Sometimes the roof, the water's leaking. I mean, they make billions of dollars, but then they can't fix it. I don't understand. I mean, but yeah, I mean, you see a lot of you see items that have sometimes cockroaches on there.
Oh
And
gosh.
yeah,
Hmm. Bonafide
yeah,
loves those.
Oh,
yeah, you see that. You see like mud over the items, and then you look at the shoes, it's all worn out, beat up, and stuff like that. And that's the reason why people wear gloves. So
oh.
Q, I heard that at traditional thrift stores before anything goes out, and I just heard this. I don't know if it's true. Maybe you could touch on it. I heard before anything goes out at a traditional thrift store, they spray it with some type of disinfectant. Do you guys did they do anything like that, or do they? Do you know of them doing that with any of the inventory that's coming out? Do they spray it? Do they kill off all those deadly viruses?
no. It's just straight up. They put. I mean, they before they put on the floor, they sort for broken glass or like something very moldy or mildew. They take out any baby strollers. They take that because and they take out what else they take out. They take out any chemical stuff like perfume or Windex and stuff like that. Those are anything that they sort out and take out because it's inflammable goods and stuff like that. So.
Hmm.
Hmm. Well, interesting.
I can't wait for this last one, Chris. You got to ask
Oh
it,
no,
man.
here it
This is
comes.
we got to get some likes, man. How many likes do we have? We have 175 people. Before
Okay.
this question, you got to get
Yep,
them. You got to get them riled up, man.
you're right, man. We have 64 people that have actually made an action to do a like or a dislike. Whether you pick a like or dislike, that's up to you. But we want you to at least hit the like button if you're finding some informative content or it's spurring some interesting debate or it's just a fun show in general. We promise not to go over an hour tonight, and and we're still going to get to the video game section, which is coming right up. But I want to ask you guys, like right now, straight up, hit the like button if you can, and we'll get more amazing guests from the green room on these shows. Real quick, because we don't want to do this at the end, Q, but how can people link up with you a little bit more if they want to like follow more of the Q story, or do you have a Facebook, anything that you want to tout, or Twitter, or anything like that?
As of right now, one day, I'll start up a YouTube one day, or maybe a Facebook page of my finds and stuff. But right now, I just have my Facebook page called Red Label Games. You just see like a little piece of paper looking logo. There's another one called Red Label Games, and it looks like some KKK, but that's not me.
But that's not you. Okay.
That's not me. You see Red Label Games with a little logo.
I thought that was you at first, but now I know it's not you. Okay. Yeah, so Bernard Armstrong said, yeah, I'm liking this. That's cool, man. So hook us up with a like button if you can, or just a little, like. It's really easy to do. It's not really a like button, Raiken. You know that? It's more of like a mouse click. It's a mouse click button, but it's a like that's hovering over. Yeah, it's a thumbs up. Okay, so here's the last question of the weigh and pay part. It's a two-part question. Are there any fights or crazy people that show up at the weigh and pay? That's the first part. And the second thing is, what's the craziest thing you've seen at a weigh and pay?
Craziest fight I've seen?
No, okay, hold on. Let's just get to the...
All right. 6 on 6.
Let's get this really simple here. Are there any fights or crazy people that show up at the weigh and pay? First question, yes or no?
Yes, there has.
Ooh, elaborate, please.
Yeah, like when you say yes, like you're immediately thinking of some people, like what happened and...
Okay, well, I'll give you two stories. One about me and another one. Okay, so the first story was, okay, and you guys out there can ask me who's in the right and who's in the wrong. Okay, so let's say Steven came up to me and said, hey, he asked me because I had some expertise. Like, Steven asked me, hey, Q, I got this video game here, and I'm interested in buying this video game, and he's interested in maybe looking up and knowing the value. So Steven asked me, hey, what's the value of this video game, right? And then, of course, I knew the price of the video game. And I was looking it up on eBay just to show him. And then Chris comes walking over, say, oh, man, nice find. And then he saw the price on my phone. And he say, yo, Steve, how much you want for it? Oh, my gosh. I was like, next thing you know, I say, dude, you're in my business, man. I'm trying to do some business with Steve. And then I was saying, we got in this huge argument. He's like, dude, it's a Goodwill. This is not, and then he's like, this isn't no business. I say, yeah, it is a business, man. I'm here to buy something, to make some money. So we got in this huge argument, and then, of course, I knew when I won the argument when he started attacking my body parts. I'm like, come on, bro. That's like old high school. Come on now.
He started attacking the body parts. That's when you're like, all right, that's cool.
Like, I'm out of here. I won, man. So
who got the game? Who got the game?
Yeah, some third person that overheard us. Like, since we argued so much, we weren't allowed to buy it. So.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, so some third party's like, oh, I'll take it when he met him outside the door. And
all
then
right.
another.
So hold on, Q. Before you do another story, let's ask the crowd out there, do you want to hear the second story before we get to the video game section, which we were going to rifle through super fast, but do you want to hear the second story, yes or no? I kind of want to hear it, but we got to get to this video game section too. What do you think, Raiken? You think people are going to be like, hell yeah, Q, tell the next story?
We got to get to 100 likes, man. We're only at 97, man.
Man. Well, you know what? I'll tell you what. If you hook us up with a like, we'll get you this next story. We got DJ MS, DJ Mastermind says yes, yes, yes. Ezaz PI. These are a lot of new people I've never seen before. This is really crazy. So Q, you're bringing in the fire right now when it comes into the feed. Yes, let's hear it. Let's hear it.
They want it.
Hell to the yeah, yes, yep, Bernard Armstrong. Okay, so let's tell the next story pretty quickly so we can get to this other thing.
I'll tell you. This one dude, I mean, not gonna say his color, but he's kind of racial towards another race, and so there was a big fight where these two women were fighting over some clothes, man, and they literally grabbed it, and then they ripped it, and then he was recording all this, by the way, and then next thing you know, you just see this lady, wah, 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 and they're on the floor, and then the rental cop comes in, and he sounds like from Star Wars, man. He's like, step away! He told all the people around there because we're all circling and watching the fight. Man, it was crazy. And then posted up on YouTube, and then next you know, the guy who posted up on YouTube, he says some racial remarks, and then next you know, he got banned from the Goodwill outlet because he recorded and so forth. So that's
Whoa.
How did Goodwill Outlet find out about it?
it's a small reseller computer. I mean, like word of mouth spreads, and he
Oh
he
my
wanted,
gosh.
he wanted to be YouTube famous, and so he titled Goodwill Bia Fighting, and then you know
Did it get a lot of views?
he only got a couple of views, and then Goodwill managed to somehow got it taken down. So
Oh wow.
Whoa.
Jeez.
yeah.
So you saw this is like a cat fight basically. You saw.
Oh yeah, it was a pretty good
So
fight.
Goodwill's got the power to take down a video with copyright infringement, but they can't fix the air conditioner for their employees.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know what I think about that.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never filmed in a Goodwill before, ever.
Yeah.
They
Okay, let's
hate
get to
it. They do not like when you film in
Oh,
thrift
you know,
stores.
honestly, my Goodwills,
Mine
they
don't.
don't care that much. Well, we were able to film that one. Anyway,
Or Whole Foods.
yeah. Okay, so let's talk about this. Let's blast through this video game section. Q, are you ready for rapid fire? Because we promised an hour to the peeps. You get ready?
Yeah,
That's
let's go.
man. I need to see you do this with your neck, man. You gotta crack your neck. You ready, man?
5-second answers.
5-second answers. All right, man. So did you play a lot as a kid, like video games? Okay, so we're on video games. Did you play a lot of video games as a kid, or was it something you never had, so now you end up collecting it and or selling it?
Yes. My parents, they weren't really wealthy, so I didn't get that much selection of games, and then they actually burned my Sega system. They threw it in a
What?
Yeah, I live out in the country, and in the country you can throw things in a little bucket and light it up on fire. So they burned my Sega system, and then I'm like, oh, and so I was like, I want to childhood memories, and so I started off with one thing and started building it from there.
What kind of parents are gonna burn a Sega system, dude? It's like seriously. This
My
is
parents were
nuts.
strict, so.
Well, I think it kind of goes like most Asian parents kind of are strict, really. I mean, they really are. But mine didn't burn my system's Q. Mine actually just sold it because I started making C's and D's in school after I got an NES.
Oh, really? My parents like on a quick note. My parents like saying before I can watch my Saturday cartoons, I had to do all my errands, and then I would rush and do all my errands, clean the toilet, hanging up the clothes, washing all my clothes, and after that I want to get 1 hour of playing time playing video games. So that's why I got a Game Boy, so I can hide it from my parents, so I can play the video games in my bedroom.
Yeah, their parents are like super high tech, dude. They're calling these things errands, and most people are going to call these things chores, right? Homework. Your parents are calling these things errands, dude. That's crazy, man. Anyway, okay. So, is the cartridge and disc resale game affected by downloadable content in your eyes?
No. People like the hard copy.
Okay.
Because if it's download and it's on their system, they get rid of the system one day, they can't get those games back. All their save, once it's gone, it's gone. Like you can't get it, and sometimes it might be out of production. So that's the reason why people like the hard copy, and plus it looks good on your shelf and so forth. So yeah, I mean collectors like it. They like hard copies, and I really don't think, it's the video game business is got to go fully digital. So.
Why are video games such a thrill to hustle? Why do you focus on video games so much? What gets you so excited about video games?
I'm a very competitive guy. I mean, it's a limit. It used to be easy to find, but now that I'm competing with all these other people, I mean, you got to fight for it. And the fact that you can just the look on the face, like, oh my gosh, it's priceless. Chris would know. I mean, it's priceless just seeing it. But I try to expand other things besides video games too. I mean, when I find like cool electronics and stuff like that, or old collectible toys, then it gets me excited too. Like I found some old Ninja Turtle toys for $2 for the whole set, the original ones. But the lady wanted to sell it to me. I was like, dang. So.
So you find it, you see it, and you can't have it. Man, that's like really good.
The next garage sale, and then I saw the 5 original Power Ranger toys.
Ooh.
And the lady's like, no, I can't sell it.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Was it your day, Q?
That wasn't my day.
There's some funny remarks coming in here from your story about this burning Sega here, but Texas Hustle says, oh no, me and my parent would be boxing after that one. Hunter Smith says, Asian parents no like video game, you must study. That's funny. That is funny. Hunter Smith also says, so this whole guy's life is a reactionary to being abused by his parents. That's pretty. That's just insightful. It's funny. I mean, any way you look at it, he's just taking it kind of like way far, but it's funny though. Okay, so is it easy to score enough inventory for your store locally in regards to video games?
It gets kind of challenging, but if you, I got lucky. People bring in their trade-ins, and plus I network with other people, so it can be challenging sometimes, but it gets me by. So I also go on other Facebook pages out there that does buying and trading, so I try to buy inventory from there too. So yeah.
What other avenues do you resort to for sourcing your inventory? Obviously, you said you have your trade-ins and stuff like that at your store. You're thrifting. What else do you
Garage
have?
selling. He's
Garage
garage selling a lot.
selling.
Yeah,
Yep.
garage selling and then Facebook pages. Those are my main sources of getting inventory. So.
Real quick, what tips do you have for buying off Facebook or Craigslist? Because the competition is just freaking ridiculous. I've noticed if there's a good deal up for a video game, it is just like
Mm.
a bunch of psychomaniacs just going crazy.
Oh
Like,
yeah, yeah. Well,
few tips. What do you got?
the first tip that I would say is do not send money order. Okay. So when you see ads on Craigslist or Facebook and they only do money order, say no to that, or they only take friends and family as PayPal. Gotta have PayPal if you join all these Facebook groups and want to buy video games. That's my number one thing. And then
Are you
just,
protected with PayPal?
yeah,
with
you're all
with
protected.
like, for example, say you buy something off of, because essentially what you're doing is you're paying them PayPal,
Mhm.
and then they're sending you the item through the mail. What's your protection? Talk about that for a second.
Well, if you send it through PayPal's goods and services, and you can make a claim if they don't provide tracking, or you show proof like the tracking was undeliverable, or they never sent off the product, then you can open up a case, and in majority of the time you're going to win the case through PayPal if you can show proof. But better than PayPal, I mean, you got to put on notifications, be the first one to the punch. I mean, it just, do you check your Facebook every hour? I mean, it's a gamble. It's a hit or miss situation. So you just got to be lucky.
Cool. I'm gonna have to split out of here in about 5 minutes, guys. But I'm gonna blast through 4 more questions, and we can get this outline done. I like getting these outlines completely done, right, Raiken? Like getting an outline done is kind of like a huge accomplishment for us because it takes a while to build these things. So, Q, let's get some quick answers on these. Tell us about an avenue other than garage sales. Why is the avenue so good to source from specifically with these video games? Like any other avenue besides the Facebook thing. Like let's talk about one more.
One other thing, the source.
What about OfferUp? You ever mess with that?
Oh yeah, OfferUp. Oh yeah. I do OfferUp and what was it? Let Go. Yeah.
Okay,
So those
okay.
are 2 alternatives to look for too. So it's once again a hit or miss. So.
And these are things that are now on mobile, right? You're doing all these on mobile phone, right?
Yep, all through mobile. So.
And that's great because if you're waiting somewhere in some waiting room or you got time to kill, like man, in the car, man, you can just whip out. You can just start going crazy, whipping out these apps and just start lowballing people. I mean, you know how it is. I mean, that's how.
Oh yeah, I try to. I mean, you see on the ads on OfferUp, they ask for crazy prices. Actually, there's a Pikachu N64 system.
I saw it.
So
Yeah, I don't know if you posted, but I think I saw one the other day, like in town somewhere.
yeah, he wanted 250 for it.
Oh.
Crazy.
Isn't that system only like worth like 160 on FBA or something, or
Yeah.
130?
He's actually got to come into my shop and do some trade-ins. So.
Ah, that's funny. Okay, cool, man. Well, that's good. I mean, you can get a customer out of it long term. Okay, so in a general sense, what's the best system to find games for on a resale standpoint? You said SNES. Am I still correct about that?
SNES, N64, NES, GameCube.
Okay.
No.
Those are the 4 like prime. If you can stick with those 4, you can make a lot of money, right?
Yeah, lots of money. So.
Okay. What's a video game system that you just don't like to hustle? Name one that you just like. I hate that system. I ain't messing with it.
Xbox, the original Xbox.
God. Okay. That one wasn't that good. Yeah.
I
No
got-
joke.
I got a question I got to throw in real quick from the comments.
What's that?
Would you ever consider professionally refurbishing video games, then reselling them with a professional saran wrap, then selling as new unopened for a massive markup?
Oh man.
Nah. People will know. People will know if you refurbish something. Anything is if it's refurbished, it's defined as used.
What does refurbished actually mean, like in terms of video games? Can you explain that?
Refurbished is that if the item was broken. Let's say, for example, the Xbox 360 had the red ring, so they send it in, they repair it, and it's refurbished, or like an NES system where the pins go out, you replace the 72 pin. It's defined as refurbished, and overall, I still sell as is used. So that's how I look at it.
Okay.
But if you want to customize it, that's a whole different story. You can actually customize systems and sell it for a higher price. So.
Yeah. The only game I ever played on Xbox, by the way, was Unreal Tournament, and I still like that game. It's so much fun.
Oh yeah, I played that.
I love that game, man. So amazing. Okay, so let's very last question. What's the last video game you played, like before the show, like the one that you played? I don't know what's the last one you played, just on the top of your head.
Black Ops 3. Yes.
Black Ops 3. Okay, so you
Black
like
Ops
that game.
3. Yeah.
You're playing obviously on the network, right?
Yeah. PS4 hardcore level.
Gosh. Okay. So people can better link up with you with Red Label Games on
Facebook.
On Facebook, right? Okay, cool. I do have to split out here in like 1 second. Raiken, let's close the show up, and I hope you guys enjoyed. First of all, let's get. We still have 177 people in here, guys. Look, if you like the green room hangouts and everything like that, hit our guide up. It's down below. There's a link to get our guide, and this guide won't have very much video game stuff in it, but it's all the stuff that you should be finding at Garage Sales right here in this guide down below. I do want to thank our guest, right? Our amazing guest from the green room.
Let me say something about the green room. Can I say something about the green room?
Go for it.
Let me say something about the green room. All right. One question that Chris wanted to ask me, and I'll make it quick, is having a full-time job and doing this as a side business, how do you keep insane? How do you keep your mentality, right? So I would like to say to all the people out there, if you're motivated and you're focused and you have passion, and the key word is support, then you can get it done. And what I mean by support is that you need to hang around with people that does around what you do. Like, for example, the green room. I consider the green room as a support. And at first I was hesitant about joining it, but when I finally did it, it was worth every money because I can talk about the things that I find without being judged or something, but also met these individuals that actually helped me and guide me, and I found a lot of great things that I'd never thought about looking for, and I found them out in the wild. So the green room is really great. So you want support and help, then I'm not trying to sell anything, but it's worth every penny. So I just wanted to point that out. So.
All right, I'll pay you later, man.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I'll pay you with a money order, Q, later.
Western Union?
Yeah. No, but thanks a lot for the kind words, man.
Thanks,
I didn't
Q.
expect to hear anything
no
like that. Usually our guests, we talk about that behind the scenes and stuff, but I really appreciate you saying that publicly. That's really nice of you. So you'll be seeing Q on one of my ride-alongs soon. That's coming up down the road, maybe even this weekend if we're lucky, Q. If it's not raining, because Austin's getting flooded. But I think Saturday's got a gap. I heard my neighbors talking that Saturday is the only day with some sunshine in it. So Q, if Saturday is going down, maybe it's time to get in the spaceship on Saturday or something, okay?
I'm down.
Cool. All right, man. So that's pretty much the show, guys. Hit us up with a like button. Even if you're watching it after the fact and it's not live anymore, please hook us up with a like, and we will have an amazing show next week. We already have the topic. It's going to be really good. You're going to want to tune in. It's going to be called Greatest Weaknesses. You're going to love this show. You're going to see all kinds of stuff that I guarantee you're going to find part of your greatest weakness in this show, and we're going to figure out how to overcome it next week. All right, so that's it. And in the green room, if you want to talk to Q more, you know how to do it. You can find him at Red Label Games, the one with the sticky note, right? It looks like a Post-it note, you said?
That's me, yep.
Red Label Games on Facebook, if you want to hook him with Q.
And a lot of people asking about how to join the green room and all that. Just get the free book below. You'll get on the email list. You'll get the free book, and you'll be able to find out some information and get discounts if you are looking for that sometime in the future. So with that being said, thanks for watching, everybody. Q, you are the man. Maybe one day me and you can fight at a Goodwill weigh-in pay to see who's the better fighter. But until then, appreciate it, Q. Bonafide. See you guys. Thanks everyone for watching, and peace out.